Hello, and welcome to our video today. Today, we're going to be looking at what an exam experience with Brightest will look like via Pearson VUE. If you're planning to take an electronic exam, this video might help you because you'll see what's going around in the surrounding documents before you actually enter and start the exam period of your exam. So if your exam is about 1 hour, usually for an ISTQB CTFL or one of the United certifications at the moment, you'll see that your appointment is set for 75 minutes instead of 60 minutes. And there is a reason for this, and that there is a surrounding bunch of documents and screens that you'll go through before and after, which are not part of your time of your actual exam. For example, there is a tutorial which will show you, you have up to 7 minutes to see how it works, how you can flag for review the different questions, how you can use the different tools of the exam, like a calculator or the extra white screen where you can make some notes and all these type of stuff. Also for some of our exams like IFPUC, where they have an open book part, where you're allowed to see the official manual. So the official materials for these type of exams will be officially incorporated directly into your exam. So without further ado, I'd like to share my screen and let's get started. So hopefully now you can see my screen. These are the intro screens that I was telling you about. And so this is example, we're going to use the IFPUC exam, the CFPS, CFPP. So basically, when you look at this, and I apologize, you're going to see my ears. I'm staring at the screen together with you. But we're going to go through, there's a little bit of an intro. Of course, for you, it will not say welcome candidate name. If it does, you have a problem. Don't worry, it won't. And then you'll have the welcome to your exam. When you check again, there will be in the case of IFPUC, there's a non-disclosure agreement, which is through IFPUC, and for IFPUC also a code of ethics, which must be accepted. These are also all available on the IFPUC website, so you can see them prior to your exam. This is just a confirmation, so you have a reminder of the things that you need to follow and you abide by taking an exam with Brightest in electronic format. So in order to consider, and here you have in order to proceed with your exam session, press N. So we'll do that, pressing next where N is underlined. And then of course, for Brightest, you may have heard of the GDPR. So in this case, the General Data Protection Regulation, which is very important, especially here in Germany and I believe worldwide. But this one, because we're in Europe, where we adhere to, of course, the global standards, and at the moment, one of the strongest ones is the GDPR standards here in Germany and Europe. And so basically, there's a little bit of information about this, and then how your information will be used. This is basically how we go through here. You'll be able to select here if you would like to be listed on a successful candidate registry. So basically on the given website for that certain certification that you might be taking. Here it shows you also which information will be made available via that. So it won't have your contact information. It will just be a place where people can basically verify your certificate. So there's also, of course, the standard stuff if you would like to receive offers from Brightest or the board for which the exam you're taking. In this case, the International Function Point Users Group. As well, there's going to be the information that, of course, the GDPR, you can have your data deleted at any time if you see fit. The only thing is if we do delete your data from our system, we may not be able to confirm anymore that you have taken an exam with us. So just something to keep in mind. And you'll have to declare that you've read this and understand before you can continue with your exam. When you will not have this exam info button, this is just the view that I have here. So the final screen that you'll have, usually before the tutorial will start, is the information about the exam itself. So that how the exam questions are done, usually electronically. They're multiple choice questions. So no surprise there. It will also say the amount of time that you'll have in this particular exam for IFPUC. It's 180 minutes or 3 hours. You'll also see the number of points that are required to achieve each level, and sometimes in this case for IFPUC about the different sections. And also here you can see about the different percentage, how many points you would need to actually achieve the different status levels or pass the given exam. So, and here will also be all the regulations, so that in this case, you are going to have access to the counting practices manual and the quick reference guide throughout the exam. So you will not be able to have any external stuff with you. You won't be able to have a pen and paper. Everything that you need is incorporated directly into the exam itself. All right. And now we're at the tutorial portion. So you can see here that there's going to be up to 10 minutes for the tutorial portion. If we're going through, I'm going to click next and just show you a little bit of the functionalities. And I'll show you that later also in a real exam example page. So you see it in the real world. Time and progress, so you can see the time and the number of questions you have. This one says 2 of 6 because there are 6 pages of the tutorial. It looks like a lot of text, but it's quite straightforward. You can minimize these by clicking here. So if you don't want to see the time, some people don't like to see the time ticking down, or if you don't want to see the questions because you want to focus on the question at hand, you can hide them. That's completely up to you. The most important buttons on the exam for navigation is next and previous. You will usually see these. You can go scroll back and forwards to the different exam questions using the scroll bar. So basically you can do it through several ways. So you'll have lots of time to read this as well, that you can find your exam. In all of our exams, of course, you're able to use the calculator, which is incorporated into the exam, the digital scratch pad as well. And in this case, for IFPUG, you also have some open book materials, as this is an open book exam. So you can't bring your own materials with potential notes on it, but you can use the official materials that are published by the IFPUG board. And in here, you can see where they would actually be located. So we have the scratch pad. If you clicked on the scratch pad button, you would get the scratch pad and be able to put your notes in there, work through the exam. The calculator, if you want to access the calculator, and also these exhibit buttons here with the little easel. That's where you'll always find on every question for IFPUG, in this case, the quick reference guide with the practices manual. That being said, for other exams, at the moment, we don't have any materials that are attached in there, with the exception of maybe the Selenium exam, where there's going to be some open book materials that are allowed. But at the moment, no other exam has these parts in it. The part here about the comment is only related to the current exam question, and we'll get to that one in a second. Here it is, leaving the comments. So you see if you click here on this button, you'll be able to put a comment for that particular question. Please, this is one important thing, is not to get this confused with the scratch pad. So you can do work in here and whatever, but we will see it later as a comment. The scratch pad, whatever you write in there, we will not see it. It will not be saved together with your exam. This is only for you to be using during the exam. It's none of our business which one you might have chosen. If you didn't choose the correct answer you might have chosen, or the wrong answer you might have chosen, this is all your private space to fill in what you like. The comments is actually meant to comment to us so that we can give that information to the board. This is only available, again, for IFPUG and ISAQB, the software architecture board exams that we offer. The others have not requested this functionality yet. But you can always give comments, and we're always happy to hear that. That would come later in the survey. You can put any comments you might have about the questions that you have, or comments or concerns you have. When I click on next here, you can see, okay, it's very blurry. I know it's not a really good example of what a multiple choice question looks like, but this one's quite straightforward. It says here, a little bit blurry, but what is the capital of Italy? Paris, Rome, London, Madrid. So you would basically just click here, which one is the correct answer. So when you're clicking, you'll only be allowed to select the number of answers that the question allows you to have. If you selected, oh, Paris is the capital of Italy, and then you realize, oh, I want to change it to Rome. If it's only one answer that's in, it will deselect Paris and move it to Rome. If you had to, what are the capitals of 2 Central European countries, and let's pretend these other 2 are not European countries, then you had to select A and B, then you could select those 2 selections together. And in that case, you'd have to remove one to add the second one. It doesn't just automatically switch because it wouldn't know which one to automatically remove. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, unseen content. If ever this pops up, that means you haven't scrolled down to the bottom of the page. So this is a kind of like a bit of a savior. If you had all the questions and had A, B, C, and for some reason you didn't scroll down enough to see that there's an answer, option D, which could be the correct answer, you would always have this that would pop up. And then once you scroll down, you would be able to move to the next one. Oh, so good little sample. So flagging for review. Basically, there will be a little flag here in the corner. I'll show you in a real sample exam page what that looks like. But basically, whenever you're not sure about a question, or maybe you just want to skip it to go through to make sure you get through a bunch of the questions and come back and review it later, you can always flag something for review, and it will be marked in a review sheet later where you can come back and jump between the questions that you flagged. So that's basically all of that one. And this is what the review screen will look like. So you can have, once you get to the review screen, you'll see that on question, in this case, this person on question 6 and question 10 have flagged the question for whatever reason. They don't know if their answer is 100% correct, or if they had time at the end, they wanted to come back and review. So this is where it's very helpful, because you can click on the question and you will go back straight to that question. You don't have to go next, 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 next. You will notice when you're taking your exam, you have to go in consecutive order through all the exam questions at least once. Once you've gone through the whole order, you'll be able from the screen to jump back and forth. And you'll also have the option to always go back to the review screen, which is this screen here. And then you can select a new option that you would like to go and see. So you can not only can you see what's flagged, but if you didn't put an answer in, like here, oh, I realized I didn't flag question 1, but I also didn't put an answer. And this could be if you were requested 2 answers, maybe you only put 1. And then it's incomplete. In some exams, like for ISAQB, for example, there are potentially negative points if they were asked for 3 answers and you only put 2. Maybe the incomplete is okay, and you want to still finalize your exam being incomplete. It's just information there. It's just saying you didn't select the full number of questions that were answered. And so you might want to go back and have a look. You can also go through and review all questions that are flagged. So that would then click here, and then you go 6 and 10 through the next button. You can also review all the incomplete questions, which is an important one, I think. If you want to at least put something for each one, definitely try your best to make sure you know what you're clicking on. And you can review all the questions. If you click on review all the questions, then you will actually start again at 1 and go all the way through. I don't know if that's for the time-wise the most helpful, but it is an option that you can choose. So next one. So the ending the review, just so you know, the ending the review means you will actually end the exam, or the exam portion. So this is the timed portion that we were talking about before. In here there are, because we didn't answer 2 questions, it does give a pop-up and it says you have 2 incomplete questions. If you click next, you will not be able to return to this review. And then, so it will end your exam and you have not answered those questions. So you get the option, are you sure you want to end this review? In that case, I would recommend clicking no, going back and answering the questions. It does ask you twice. So if I clicked yes here, it pops up, are you sure, again. So you have enough options to be there. There's no way that you should instantly ever be thrown out of an exam. You're able to get back quite easily. So just stay calm, read the page, and you'll be fine. And click on the next one. And then, yeah, you're done. The tutorial will finish. After the tutorial is exactly when the exam will begin, and your timed slot for the exam, what you're allotted for that particular exam you're taking, will begin. Now you're in your exam. So this is won't give away anything. There's nothing secret here, so don't worry. But in the beginning, for example, for IFPOC, there are 3 sections to the exam, and there's always a page in the beginning. You will notice here that the time is running, and it will go down from the time you start your exam until it goes down to 0, or you end your exam before the time runs out. At the time it goes down to 0, your exam, this portion of the exam, your actual part where you can answer questions, will end automatically. So here there's the option you'll see for IFPOC and ISAQB, the software architecture board that we collaborate with. There's this option where you can comment. If you're commenting on a question, you can basically, this will be giving information back to the board. Hello board. Don't have to put hello board, but it's fun. And you can here then put in, I don't agree with the syntax of this question. Sure, maybe you have something a little bit more to say, particular about the topic, but that's not what we're here to do today. When you save this, it will be saved with that question, and we will receive the information as well, so we can also mention these comments further to the board, and they'll be able to look at it and review the questions, just so you know what that's about. In the calculator part, of course, you can click here. You can use it just like a normal calculator, whatever you want to do. You can multiply, times, whatever. So there's no big complicated one. There's no reason to have a watch with that function or anything like that. This would all be prohibited anyway, but you have a calculator in every exam that we offer. The scratch pad is also available in every exam that we have. Here you can copy or you can put whatever you want. You can say hello again. Oh, I think for question 3, the answer is 4. Don't know what that is, but okay, sure. So then you can save this and it will always stay with you throughout the whole exam. Whenever you open it up again, you can also, if it's somehow helpful, copy or cut, and then you can paste it again. You can probably paste it again. You can play around with it, do all sorts of things. This sticks with you the whole entire exam. It's just important that you know when you're in the comment function, this is only limited to the one question you're looking at because it's a comment about that particular question you see at the page at the time you're putting the comment on. It will not follow with you for the exam. So if you're planning to use this one as your scratch pad, um, please don't, because you'll have to go back to the question to see it. This one, you can click on it. It will say it in here for the whole exam, your whole duration. You can always click on it. If you want to come back to a question, because you say, hey, this one, I'm not really sure about whether the answer is B or C. That's as an example. You can always flag it for review. And that way it will show up in the back end and you can come back and view it whenever you like. Now I'm going to zoom to the end, so you're not going to actually see the exam, but I will show you what it looks like when you get to the review portion. See you in a sec. So now I can show you the review screen. So you can see I actually haven't taken the exam because it says every question is incomplete. I've just clicked through to give you a view what this looks like. Here you can see which questions I've flagged. So you can see I haven't answered any questions. So it says incomplete for all, but I've flagged these 3. So if I click on those flags, I will actually end up going to the question. So I can click on here and go to question 1, and then I can remove the flag when I'm done. And that way I can go through and I can review everything that I haven't created a final answer, or I want to look at my answer if it's still the one that I believe is to be the most correct for that answer question, and then I can remove it. Once I have all the flags then removed and hopefully an answer for each question, and I'm ready to end the review, I can click here on End Review. Now you can see I didn't answer any questions in this exam, so I have 110 incomplete questions for my IFPUG CFPS CFPP exam. I really hope you wouldn't be in this situation at this point, but in this case, I can put, it says click yes if you would like to end and click no if you don't want to end. You see, I still have tons of time here, so I could go back and answer all the questions. But in this case, I'm going to say, no, I would like to end the review. You can see I get a second option. It says, are you sure? Please confirm that you really want to end your exam. If you collect it, you will not be able to review. So if you have to click yes actually twice to be able to leave your exam. So now I've left the exam and that's the final page. There you go. So I hope you're ready for your exam. And if you have any questions, please never hesitate to reach out to us at info@brightest.org. We'll also be able to support you with anything for your registrations and booking of your exam. But this is actually to give you a little insight of what your exam experience will actually look like. One thing to keep in mind is that whether you book the exam, whatever language you book, as soon as the exam components start, like we've shown here today, they will be in the language that you have chosen. So up until that point, there are some languages that might not yet be supported by the registration portal and so on of Pearson VUE. But once you get into the exam stage where you're having the information prior to the exam, the tutorial, the survey afterwards, and also your answer sheet will all be in the language which the exam you've been taking. So regardless whether it's Italian, Brazilian, Portuguese, English, French, Spanish, whatever's available, we have also Japanese at the moment too. So the only thing that you won't be able to do is sometimes speak directly to the candidate or to the supervisor who will be supervising you. They do have a chat function, and they're working on right now having some sort of translation device in there. And they're also trying their best to have candidates who can actually speak to the or have supervisor can speak to the candidates in the language that you've booked your exam. So if it's not yet a possibility, we're hoping it to be very soon in the near future, as there's been quite a flux at the moment on these online remote proctored exams. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining, and keep safe and have fun.